Yeah, that's totally fine.
Awesome.
Sounds good.
Thank you. Okay, cool. Levi, you can get us started.
Okay, great. So thanks for coming, everyone. Sarah, please go to the first slide there. So this is for the Professional Masters in Network Engineering in the Department of Computer Science here at the University of Colorado Boulder. Thank you. And so just some kind of administrative things. Mute yourself to get started, but then please let me know, have any questions, type them in the chat. Both Sarah, the graduate advisor, and myself will be happy to stop and answer any questions that you have along the way. This is meant to do exactly that, is answer any questions that you may have. So we're going to cover some of the basics of why the University of Colorado, why network engineering specifically, and then some kind of things to do once you get here. Okay, so Professor Jose Santos is not with us. He is the lab director, senior instructor, and he's been with the university for many, many years and is distinguished within industry as well as in academia. And so he's our lab director. We'll talk more about that in a little bit. But he also does some research kind of focusing on low latency networks, high availability, and is kind of a little bit of traditional networking as well as kind of low latency forward thinking networking as well. And so both him and I are co-directors of the Network Engineering Master's Program. And I'm Levi Perigo, and I have been in industry for 10 plus years. And then I've been at the University of Colorado ever since then. So one thing that is different from the University of Colorado and other universities is that we all come from industry. We know what industry is doing, and we work closely with industry. And I'll talk more about that in a little bit when we talk about who's hiring our students. So a little bit about my research focus is it's all kind of next generation network programmability of software-defined networks, network automation, virtualization, those kind of things. Okay, so here's a picture of campus. So we are in Boulder, Colorado. It is, in my opinion, obviously I'm biased, one of the most beautiful cities in the United States. And it has a little bit of everything. So it has, you know, a small town college feel, but you can also be to the airport, an international airport, within an hour. Anything that you want to do outside, hiking, biking, rock climbing, all of that is, you know, right here within the city limits. So we have everything that you want to do. We also have outdoor skiing and snowboarding, all very, very close as well. But in addition to just a beautiful, beautiful campus and outstanding weather and a bunch of enjoyable outdoor activities, we're also a technology hub. So many people don't think of Boulder, Colorado as a tech hub, but we are the home of the Tech Stars, which is a global tech incubator. So people come here just to focus on new technologies and startups. We also have a very, very large Google office and Twitter and Oracle and Apple, and then many, many other startup companies here as well. So in addition to that, you know, I said we have the mountains, we have beautiful weather. People think of Colorado, they often think of cold and snow, but actually it's very far from that. We have 300 days of sunshine every year, and depending on where else you're considering, the beautiful sunshine and the mountains make an exceptional sunny part of your day, and it just makes everything a little bit better. So one other thing to kind of think about too in the University of Colorado is the cost of living is going to be a little cheaper than the East Coast and the West Coast cities in the United States. So on top of that, you need to keep that in mind when considering other schools as well. So a few things to think about if why you're thinking the University of Colorado. So Boulder, Denver is one of the, you know, very, very popular industries. So we talked about some of the companies in Boulder, but we also have a large Amazon office, Meta, Facebook office, and Twitter and Oracle, all very, very close or in Boulder itself. Or also we have, you know, the whole Denver tech community. So all of the major service providers of Verizon, AT&T, Comcast, CenturyLink, Lumen, all of those are in Denver as well. And So some things to think of is we are a very, very popular tech startup company or location. And one other thing that is kind of a bragging point for us is we have been rated #1 place in the US of best places to live for like 8 out of the last 10 years. And the other times we didn't place first, we placed second. So that's something that we're always bragging about when we live in Boulder and the university. Okay, I know I'm going very, very fast, but I'm assuming you will ask questions, or you can always watch the recording later if you have more questions. But things to think of is, here we have a very, very important work-life balance. We know that, school is what's going to get you your next job or your next promotion, but we also want to enjoy the things in the beautiful place that we live. So we understand that for sure. Another huge benefit to the University of Colorado is our community. And so we are in a professional master's in network engineering, but we are within the Department of Computer Science. And so the Department of Computer Science at the University of Colorado is world renowned. We have 70 plus faculty. And so everything that is done in computer science, we have access to those labs, those professors, that research, mingling with those other students. And so we just have a good collaboration. So not only in the School of Engineering, but also within computer science and all of the other disciplines of that nature. And we also work with other schools outside of the engineering center. So like information science, business analytics, the engineering center, right, in the University of Colorado also has a bridge between that and the business school. And so we often have classes together with some of the business students, and it just works really well that we have, being in the Department of Computer Science, we have all of the programming aspects, we have the applied machine learning, we have AI, we have all of that we can easily relate to and incorporate that into our network engineering. And so you don't have that at a lot of other places. And so we're really excited about this collaboration that we have within the engineering school. Okay, so that's a little bit about Boulder and the University of Colorado kind of in general. So let me just talk briefly about the professional masters in network engineering. So we've had this degree for 25 plus years. If you think back to the beginning of what this was, it was focused on computers and telephony and point-to-point connections. 25 years ago, the internet was very, very different than what it is now. And so we've changed names a few times over the past 25 years or so, but our core network engineering degree has been there all along. And so we're kind of excited that the past few years we've branched off and had a dedicated degree just in network engineering. And the reason for that is because network engineering is becoming so popular, right? You can't do anything today without a network. The internet would not exist. Even wireless networks have to have a network in the background to work. So with the popularity of machine learning and artificial intelligence and the next popular application, all of those have to have the network to function. So a little bit about the degree. It's 30 credits. It's a course-based professional master's. And as I'll talk about in a little bit, we focus on learning the technology and the theory very, very in depth. And then we enforce those with hands-on labs, typically on a weekly basis per class. And the network engineering lab here at Colorado is by far the best academic lab in the world. And we've had many different partnerships with industry, and they come in and they will always say that same thing, and they begin to sponsor the lab. And so here's a picture of some of the labs. These are 2 different rows, but we have I think we have 48 or 58 racks in there, and each rack is dedicated per a student for the whole semester. And this is a part where you get to enforce that learning that we do in class through kind of the hands-on education. And, when you're looking at other universities, you may have 1 or 2 racks for the whole group of students, and you need to share that. At Colorado, each student gets their own rack that they get to work hands-on with. So Sarah, go back one slide for me. So a couple things here, why we're doing network engineering. Again, it is everyone in the world, every application, every company, every business has to have a network. And that is why we are in such demand. And so going forward, it is only going to grow. No matter what happens, network engineering is going to be there. And like I said, we focus on the theory, we focus on the hands-on, and putting both of those together is, combined with our lab, is I think why we are the best network engineering program in the world. So next slide there, Sarah. Thank you very much. So again, our lab infrastructure is world-class. It is a fully functioning data center, coupled with cooling and power, and everything is in an airtight, sealed location. And so again, this is something that students don't get to do very often. And a lot of times we will have people that work full-time in industry, and they'll come and they'll take the network engineering master's program, and they say, I don't ever get to touch equipment like this in my job. I have to go through a change order or a move add change or a process. Whereas we get to play with, break, hurt, destroy this equipment as often as you want. And this is the best way to learn, is by going in here, working in the lab, breaking things, trying new things. And on top of this, right, so you see this hardware in here. This also hosts our software and our cloud and our programming type labs. They're all done within our lab environment. So both the students get to use this, our research faculty and our research students get to use this. And so it has both our traditional networks, such as data center, traditional routing and switching, internet service provider, as well as our kind of next generation networks like SDN and NFV and our cloud platforms. All of those are housed in our data center, and the students have full access to this all semester long. Okay, so we are, as I said, highly recognized within industry. And so these are our top employers for our graduates, and we have a 100% placement rate before graduation. And many of the students will have multiple offers. And especially now when many of the large tech companies are having layoffs, we still had 100% placement for every student before graduation. And this list of companies is not just, the list of companies that sometimes hire our students. This is the top recruiters and employers of our alumni. So I believe it is Meta, then Amazon Web Services, then Arista, then Google, then Juniper, in that order. And so if you think of those are some of the top companies in the world. But what's really exciting for our alumni working at these companies is they get to work on some of the biggest and best and coolest networks in the entire world. And the reason now that we have so many alumni at these companies is because we have a proven product. We work so closely with these companies. They know exactly what our students are capable of. And we, in turn, we know what they're looking for in hiring students. So our program is vetted by each of these companies so that they can say, hey, these are the technologies we're doing. Maybe you can incorporate that in your lab. And so we will look at that and we'll justify it and say, okay, well, Meta is doing technology A, B, and C, and Google is doing technologies X, Y, and Z. So if we put all those together, then our students are going to know enough to go to any of these companies. And I think what is really, really popular and why they come to us is, one, our students know the technology very, very well. Two, they have the hands-on experience of working in the lab. And three, we kind of bridge that gap between pure software engineering and core network engineering. Most of our graduates are right in the middle of that. So think of doing programming for software-defined networks, for network automation, that's kind of where our students excel. And as Sarah will talk about when we look at the degree plan, you have the choice of, do I want to be more of a traditional network engineer, or do I want to be more on the software side? And that depends what your goal is. What kind of job do you want when you get out of here? Is it going to be, a network automation engineer, a site reliability engineer, or, something more in the core or the backbone? So we provide all of those options, and the students get to choose what path is best for them. And so it kind of depends, what were you looking for? Are you a full-time employee that is looking to come back and learn how to program and do more network automation? Are you someone, straight out of undergrad and you just say, man, I know network engineering is the future. We're going to start and show you kind of from start to finish which way you should go and help you during that path. And so it kind of depends. We are very, very flexible in this degree, because you may come in with very, very little background, and we'll start from the beginning and say, hey, here's Linux, here's how to program, here's basics of networking. And then from there, we can move on to what other focus you want. Or like I said, you may be in industry and you say, man, I have 15 years of core networking experience. I just need to learn how to program. I need to learn how to do automation or SDN. We have a perfect solution for that as well.
Awesome. Thank you, Levi. I am Sarah. I'm the graduate program advisor for the network engineering program, and I'm going to go through the degree requirements and then some information on completing your application, because hopefully, you're in the process of that now. So as Levi mentioned, this program is a 30 credit program. Generally, students take about 2 years to complete this program, and it is a course-based professional master's program, which means essentially there's no research required to complete this degree. And this little chart here highlights the breakdown of the 30 credit hours required to obtain your degree. And this link takes us to the network engineering degree requirements, and then this presentation will be sent out after we wrap up. And these next few slides will go into each of these categories. So up first are the fundamentals. You are required to take 2 fundamental courses, and depending on your background, we may recommend that you take 3. For example, those coming in with no background in CS or networking. And these basically just sort of lay the foundation so that you can be successful in the program, regardless of where you're coming from. And these courses are offered in the fall, which is partially why we have just the one admission cycle for fall enrollment. Up next are the core courses. Again, 2 of these courses are required for graduation, but many students choose to take more and count them towards elective credits. And these are kind of the next step in laying the foundation for the network engineering curriculum. Up next, advanced electives. You are required to take 9 credits of advanced electives, so 3 courses, and they're outlined here. Again, this will all be sent out later and is on our website. And then you take 9 elective credits. And this is sort of where the bulk of the flexibility of the degree comes in. You can take any of the remaining core courses, any of the remaining advanced elective courses, any CS graduate level course, and then you can also petition to take courses outside of the CS department at the graduate level if you have interest in other areas. For example, engineering management is very popular among our students. So that's one area you can definitely dabble in while you're here. And a quick note on the fundamentals. You can also, based on your experience, I mentioned you might want to take all 3, but in contrast, if you are more experience, industry experience, etc., you can actually waive some of those fundamental requirements to give you increased flexibility in your degree. And as Levi mentioned, him and Jose are very active in supporting you guys and making sure you get the most out of your degree. And so we have outlined here some educational focus areas. This is not like a degree requirement per se, but it just sort of can help guide your course selection based on your interests. So this is something that will come into play more so once you're already in the program. And then also we have an example plan of study available just for, you to sort of be able to envision a potential path through the program. All right, so up next, we're going to talk about submitting your application, some tips and tricks on this, as well as deadlines and other requirements. So the application deadline is December 15th, 11:59 Eastern time. So I know people will be applying from a variety of time zones, so just keep that in mind. Incomplete applications will not be considered, and we only have fall admissions. So this is your one chance. So hopefully you're able to get all your application materials ready and submitted soon. So as far as eligibility requirements go, you need to have a bachelor's degree, and then from your bachelor's degree, a GPA of at least 3.0 on a scale of 4.0. International applications consider, or our international admissions team converts international GPAs after submission, and we do consider applications holistically, so still feel free to apply if you're a little bit below the GPA, and if you can make up for it in other ways such as industry experience, you can still be considered for the program. And lastly, we are GRE blind, so there's no need to submit these scores even if you've taken them, because they will not be part of our review process. And these are the steps to apply. There's an online application, an application fee. For international students, there are English proficiency requirements, and you can explore. There are some exemptions to this, so feel free to explore that. You have to have 3 letters of recommendation. Unofficial transcripts are required for the application, and then if you're accepted, you will then be required to submit official transcripts, but not until you're accepted. And then lastly is uploading your statement of purpose. And then just a couple tips and tricks on the online application. Be sure you're very careful in selecting the program and your program. In the program details section, we have had students in the past select the wrong program. So yeah, make sure you're selecting network engineering when filling out your application. And since there's no prerequisite courses for this degree, you don't actually need to fill out the additional coursework section. You can leave that section blank. I already spoke about English language scores, but those are the only test scores required for admission, and that's only for international students. We require 3 letters of reference. They should be in before the deadline, but review technically does start in early January, so that gives your authors of the letter of reference a little bit of time to submit those. And then make sure in your personal statement you're taking time to really highlight why network engineering. Jose mentioned in our morning session, that's what we're really looking for. So be sure that's the most important part of the personal statement. And for employment history, anything that you want to include, resume, diplomas, publications, etc., please save and upload as one single PDF for review. Okay. Oops. Yeah, just a few additional reminders. Once you submit your application, no edits can be made. and there will be no extensions. So again, please bear in mind this deadline of December 15th. Committee review begins in early January, and you can expect to hear back from us either way in February. And yeah, we hope to get these out early for you so that you guys can make educated decisions on next steps in your educational journeys. I've just included this here as well. So obviously, it's important for you guys to know what to expect financially. But I would like to also note that although this degree is expensive, it's an investment towards your future, and our students, based on average starting salary of about $100K, will make back tuition spent in a very short amount of time. And then our student organization put together some tables on cost of living in Boulder for your viewership in planning out your expenses and coming here. This you can review later. And yeah, now we can move on to questions. There's some more information in the slides following that you can review independently.
We think the University of Colorado is absolutely outstanding. Our faculty are here. They come from industry. We have a lot of adjunct faculty that come from industry. For example, the